I don't know if I'm getting bored with that music.
I think what we need someone to take that music and give us a like a remix.
Oh, don't say that, because Ellums will be all over it.
Yeah, we need a remix. We need like Jason Derulo, who always says his own name. Jason Derulo.
In every song.
You would think he'd made enough money by now to pay someone else to say his own name.
Unbelievable. Every song he's like, Jason Derulo.
Who's the other? It's Sean Paul, isn't it? He did the track with Clean Bandit, and she does this really thing about spends her nights down by the water, basically being a prostitute, and then he chimes in with daily struggle, like it's some kind of social commentary. Like, I really do love some of the hype things. We need that with ours, don't we?
Yeah, we do. I do like Sean Paul, though. I liked that he did a great album in the it was must have 15, 16, 17 years ago, called Duddy Rock or Dutty Rock.
Your Sean Paul knowledge is better than mine.
He just
bit of bang bang.
He just does stuff like every randomly he goes, "Hear me now."
It'd be great, wouldn't it? Like the at the bit where he goes, if he goes, "Step in time." if he just comes up with, "Here come the sawdust," and just kind of drop that stuff in. Right.
You could say stuff like, "He's not as tall as you thought he'd be."
Yeah. Or as funny.
Or as funny. And like
stuff like that. I reckon we get the Ellums and the Jacobs together. Ellums can do an operatic for the music, and then Jacobs comes in as the hype man.
It could work. It's a crazy idea, but it could work.
I think so. I think either that or someone with musical ability. Just
either them or somebody who's talented.
Someone who's talented, not saying at all, because we've already agreed that Lisa is an everyday genius.
Everyday genius.
And Jacobs, as crackers as he is claiming the mantle of our biggest fan. So first thing we need to do is they need to have some kind of celebrity boxing match to decide that mantle.
Adams is winning, by the way, on that one.
Oh, but yeah, hands down.
She would just come at him like that.
Like you used to do as a kid.
Yeah, just windmill it in.
Yeah.
The thing for me is, I don't know if you've realised, but Jacobs claims that he's actually registered Crackers IT.
Do you know what? He sent me the message, Crackers IT up and running, and I clicked on it and it was like, not registered. So I'm like, has he? Or is it going to be a big... I mean, why wouldn't you? What a great name.
If he hasn't, somebody else is going to listen to this and do it. It'd be crazy not to.
Elon Musk could be all over that. I reckon he's done it.
Elon Musk features in my business news. He features in that this week.
Oh, I thought we were going early. I thought we were going. You know what I'm like with change.
No. I'll keep that till later on. I've got questions first. We always do questions.
We do questions, but questions are good. And do you know what? I don't know if you realise this, but we are building towards our very first special, our sci-fi special. Sci-fi. And there's a couple of caveats.
Was that an echo? You do it and I'll do the echo.
Sci-fi.
Sci-fi.
Special. Echo. Why is it kids do that when they're standing on the edge of a cliff or something and there's an echo? They shout the word echo.
Yeah.
Echo. Is that, you can shout anything. It doesn't have to be echo. Anyway,
there's a bit, Greg, talking about echoes. There's a bit where on the Great North Run, the largest half marathon in the world that runs from Newcastle to South Shields.
Yeah.
South Shields, and as you're coming out of Newcastle, and I think you've driven around Newcastle, haven't you, before? You're familiar with the road system. There's quite a few inner city motorways as you're coming out, dual carriageways, and have like tunnels as you go, not long tunnels, but tunnels. And as you run through it on the Great North Run, everyone goes echo, and oggy, and somebody else goes oi, and it's like, it's cheesy as you're doing it, but you're so excited because you're a mile in at that stage, and you go, oh, it's brilliant. Yeah,
like it, absolutely like it. Right, so we're building towards our first special, and there's a couple of
special. Oh, we'll stop that bit. Yeah.
Special. So our sci-fi special. We need more. We need more suggestions. We've got some really good ones. We've got some proper geeky ones, and I love it. I mean, some people have really gone hard.
I tell you what, the Weckles, she's off it with that geeky question.
He
She's
really
like,
is. Also,
Adam Kaplan, he's gone proper deep.
well, Matt Leake, also known as Big Matt, but has just gone through a massive amount of weight loss recently. He's looking fantastic. Good friend of mine. He's gone proper geeky as well. So have a look at some of his content. So that I want to put a rule in place. No superhero technically falls into sci-fi when you look at the categories. However,
Just because Superman came from outer space doesn't mean it's sci-fi.
There will be a superhero only special coming later.
You heard it here. You heard it here first.
Absolutely. And the other thing I wanted to mention is I think I've already put together my questions for the sci-fi special. So, and they are either or, and I'll be interested to see. But let's get going with this week's questions.
You go first, am I?
I think I went first last time, so you go first.
I'll go first. So Greg Davies, domestic travel. Let's say you're going on quite a long journey. Do you prefer driving, getting on a train, flying, or getting on a boat?
Driving. I'm a big driver. I always have been. I was the youngest ever field sales rep that my first proper job employed. So they had to change their car insurance policy because I was under 21 when I got the job.
15 years old he was.
And I used to ride my BMX. No, but I had a client in Edinburgh, and I used to do Edinburgh and back in a day.
From down south?
So I lived down by Gatwick Airport at that point. So I would
have been 8.5, 9 hours.
Do you know, weirdly, I don't remember it being that long through the fog of time. But yeah, I suppose it would have. Yeah, it used to be a 2:00 start for a 10:00 appointment. And then I used to do a couple of appointments, and then I'd be home by kind of 9:30 in the evening. But I did it because I love being home. So I don't really like staying in a budget hotel, but I also really enjoy driving. I like the privacy of driving. I like the fact you can have your own music on, you can listen to audiobooks. Now you can make calls, you can really utilize the time. Back then you couldn't.
You can blend smoothies, you can juggle, you can read a book, you can all of those things you can do when you're driving.
Yeah, so mine would definitely be driving. And what would yours be?
Well, I do like driving, and I used to travel up and down to Rickmansworth on a monthly basis, and I transitioned from driving to getting the train about 3 years ago. Really, really like train travel, and I think a lot of it is. I don't know if I've told you about this, but the area that I live in, the first commercial railway line in the world, ran from Shildon to Stockton-on-Tees via Darlington, and it was called the Darlington and Stockton Railway. And it was the Rocket, Stephenson's Rocket, and that was our region. So trains are in our blood up here. They're in our blood. So I would choose train. I think.
People have always said to me when we've gone to conferences before, why don't you get the train? And where I lived previously was kind of south of London, so it was past Gatwick Airport, and the majority of places that you would naturally travel. So like when we've had conferences in Manchester and meetings in Birmingham and even conferences up in Glasgow and Newcastle. What I would have had to done is gone into London, across London, using the tube, and then out the other side. I now live north of London. I'm kind of almost equal the other way. So I'm by Stansted Airport. So I think increasingly going forward, I'll probably use the train more because it would be going into a London terminus and then straight back out of a London terminus as well. So
there's also quite a lot of domestic flights from Heathrow and Stansted. So
yeah, there certainly were pre-COVID, and I'm looking forward to it all getting back to that level. But what bugs me is by the time it's like I was only an hour on the plane. Yeah, it is, but then you've got like the travel there, and they're now charging you nine quid to drop off. So it's a taxi to the airport, or someone pays 9 quid to drop off and 9 quid to pick you up. This is Stansted I'm talking about. But I know Gatwick's put that in place as well. You've then got no matter what people say, it's at least 2 hours either side that you have to be at the airport.
Yeah.
So you've got to be driving for 5 hours for it to be, a time saving. So
fair enough. Yeah.
So you're a train man, are you?
I am a train man.
I mean, do you drink on the train? Do you get one of those tiny little cans of gin and tonic?
So it's an interesting question. I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't go there with like 4 cans of Carlin's special brew and start bothering people in the house. When I book far enough in advance, I book first class. Not because I'm trying to be flash or clever or anything.
No.
Just because it's not that expensive if you book far enough in advance and you pick a non-peak time. And, we're about 20 minutes away from Darlington Station, which is a mainline station. And do you know what? Yeah, I mean, if you go first class, you get a meal. There's more space around. It's not noisy at work.
Yeah.
Or, more importantly, watch Amazon Prime.
Yep.
And pretend you're working, but really just watch something on Netflix or Amazon Prime. And have a drink. But my go-to drink on a train isn't the gin and tonic. It would be on a flight, but not on a train. It's a situational drink. And I would have a whiskey and ginger on a train.
Oh, you'd have a whiskey mac. Nice.
Is that what it's called, a whiskey mac?
So I'm always a bit confused about whether so there's 2 versions. So there's the whiskey and ginger ale.
Yeah.
So which some people call whiskey and American because it's American ginger ale.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a whiskey mac, which I think might be a whiskey and a ginger wine.
That makes sense. Yeah.
So both bits are alcoholic, and that is the best kind of warming drink I've ever found. I love a whiskey mac, but no, I'm with you all the way.
And the thing is, both of us like whiskey,
really
normally the most I would put in even a blended, the most I would put in a whiskey might be a small ice cube just to release a bit of water and release some flavour. And I know Alistair Ross, somebody that we both know well. He pours a little bit of water in his whiskey, and everyone goes, sacrilege, but he was born in Edinburgh, so he's allowed to do that, apparently. But I normally wouldn't add anything to whiskey. However, whiskey and ginger is nice.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because, I mean, they call that the angel's tear, don't they? Where you put a drop of water in to open up the flavour. I drink mine over ice. And, I drink not expensive whiskey, but it's normally a single malt, whatever one's on offer, because I refuse to pay full price for it. And I drink it over ice. And people have said to me, why are you doing it? It's ridiculous. And a mutual friend of ours, Julian Lewis, has a friend who was Little Julian, who at one point was a sales director for William Grant, which is the biggest whiskey producer in the world. They do like Glenlivet and Tullamore. They're all those brands. And he said to Julian at one point, once you've paid for it, you drink it how you want. It's yours. And I think that's why whiskey's come on so much in a lot of the snobbery around whiskey has gone. You've got brands like Haig out there that are they're out there, Haig Club as a mixer. Like they're doing flavored versions of it now. There was a pink grapefruit version of it. And I love that. I think it's good. But no, good train drink. I like that one.
I've got to say though, a bourbon I would have over ice. Like I'd have quite a bit of ice. If it's like a Jack Daniel's honey or something like that, over ice. Jack Daniel's apple, over ice. But the single malts, I don't have too much ice. Can I tell you an interesting travel alcohol story?
Yeah.
So there's a guy, I'm going to give him a shout out there, Alan Foster.
Fozzo.
Little Fozzer. Both at the same time. For those of you that are listening to this on a podcast, little Tyrannosaurus Rex impression. So we're on a flight on our favourite airline, Air New Zealand,
Yeah.
And we were flying over to LAX, and we're all going to a convention. And I was stretching my legs, walking on the back of the plane, and the flight staff are really good fun, and they knew that I knew the person that just ordered this particular drink. So Alan Foster at like 2 in the morning, all the lights are off, has ordered a Bloody Mary, right? so the lady who was serving the drinks and on duty said, "That's your friend's drink. Do you want to prepare it for him and take it?" So I went, "Okay, but I'll need like an apron, a penny." There's a penny. Give me a tray. Give me the drink. And Alan had ordered it and then like nodded off. So I woke him up and went, "Sir, your drink." And there's confusion between Russ is bringing me a drink and he's dressed in like the proper Air New Zealand gear. I had like a blazer on and everything. I just went, "Mate, times are hard. They've given me a job. I'm earning my flight." Yeah, funny.
Love it. Okay, my first question for you. A-Team or MacGyver?
A-Team.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, why do we even have to discuss that? And the thing with and I'll give you a bit of depth to my answer. The A-Team was a bigger show around the world, syndicated around the world. The actors were bigger names before and after. George Peppard was in Breakfast at Tiffany's and many big Hollywood films. I mean, the big coup in that was that they got him to sign it. That was the Sean Bean for Game of Thrones.
Oh, was it?
That was a syndication thing. Because he was such a huge name that had been on the wane for many years. But also, the remake of MacGyver is like a bit like NCIS. It's like,
yeah, that was rubbish. But MacGyver also came in. The reason why I've linked those two together is MacGyver came in to replace A-Team. There was a big backlash about the amount of guns that we used in A-Team. Even though
nobody ever died.
Well, Murdoch was shot once, and BA
just used to flip over.
BA actually winked at him, so we know that BA liked Murdoch. But at one point, there was a whole army taken down by a pressurized air cannon tank firing cabbages. You know, so the fact that it's like, don't shoot a gun because a man with a vegetable will take you down. You know, it probably did more for like gun control than it ever did. Whereas MacGyver could break out of a cell using his own hair and a look from a pigeon.
So I once tried to watch MacGyver and he was stuck in an attic and he created a zip line and got out of the attic. And I remember just thinking, that isn't BA locked in a garage making a tank out of a motorbike. You know, no. It was like, with music as well, it's like, I can sort this out.
Now it's time for the montage. Here comes a massive montage. Yeah. Sparks gets every tool that they need as he fires up the welding torch. Yeah.
However, if you'd added a third show in, the third show would have won.
Which was Airwolf.
Fall Guy.
Oh, no, I never got into Fall Guy. Well, I think this might. I think our childhood.
I'm a bit older.
Slightly apart. Yeah. No, I thought you were going to go Airwolf.
Airwolf. Hawk Santini.
It's a great name, isn't it?
Yeah. Playing his cello.
I used to like that. I just theme music. It just you don't get theme music anymore on Netflix because most people skip it.
Hang on. Was it? Or was that Blue Thunder or whatever it was called? Blue. There was a rival one, wasn't there?
Thunder.
Yeah, because they had Roy Schneider in that.
Yeah, who then went on to do Sequest DSV.
Yeah.
Rubbish, wasn't it?
Let's keep that for next week.
Yeah. Okay, right. So you're right, Tim. Yeah, I get it. Okay, next question.
What was yours? Was and also the A-Team remake was very good. I liked that film.
The movie was very clever. Yeah,
it was very good because it had that. What's the South African guy called? The actor who was Murdoch. He's in District 9. Charlo. Oh, he's very good.
Yeah. I can't.
And if somebody had said, you know, quite often I like to do who would play them in a film. We've had it as a section here, and it was like they got the casting brilliantly. I mean, they had the guy that was in The Hangover as the face.
Yeah, Liam Neeson.
I mean, Liam Neeson was brilliant as Hannibal. And then Charlotte, the South African actor, he was Murdoch. It was brilliant. And the guy that played BA was absolutely fantastic. He was made for the role. So, yeah.
Yeah, it was very good. Okay, yeah.
Although I would have liked to have seen Ice Cube do BA, because I think Ice Cube's an underrated actor. Let's put it out there.
So I thought the one who would have gone for BA would have been LL Cool J.
Well, do you know, I nearly said that, but he's in that NCIS, isn't he?
But he's brilliant. He plays Sam in NCIS, and he is absolutely brilliant. And it just, he's got that whole deadpan thing going on that BA had.
He just looks angry at everything.
Yeah, he really does. It's like nothing phases him, no emotion. But then every now and then he does something, you know, quite classic and funny. So cool. All right, what's your next question?
Okay, so earlier in the year, going back to the back end of last year, we left Europe. UK left Europe. Not me and you left Europe, the band. We were never in that band.
I know.
Countdown. We weren't in that band. So it's themed around Brexit and changes. There was a lot of controversy about the colour of our passport.
Yep.
You know, screw what colour it is and what it was. If you could have any colour as a passport, what would that colour be?
Hot pink.
Oh, I like it. Like a cerise or more of a fuchsia.
Like proper hot pink. I'll give you an example. Excuse me.
I'll fill. So at this stage, Greg is, right, okay, yeah, that would be the colour of your passport.
That would be the colour of my passport. And you?
Yeah, I'd go black, just plain black.
Would you?
Yeah. That wasn't a very...
What colour lettering though?
Embossed, just black. A bit like Spinal Tap.
Black on black.
Black on black. A bit like Spinal Tap.
Nice. Yeah, that's classy.
Can't get any blacker. Just embossed. Just so you almost have to feel it to know the country of origin.
So I would go hot pink with holographic writing.
How on earth would you pull that off?
Just you know, not proper hologram standing out. You know, like you used to get
Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're my only hope. That can't just for next week for the start.
Like the shiny stickers you used to get in the Panini ones.
I know what you mean? Yeah.
Yeah, that kind of thing. Yeah. Okay.
It'd look a bloody mess, but
yeah, but who cares?
Who cares?
I'm going to be flouncing through immigration with my hot pink holographic passport.
I'm here.
I've arrived. Yeah.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ocean or pool?
I think we've touched on this in a previous one, and I'm pool all day long.
I get the downside of all the salt and all that kind of stuff. However, there is just something wonderful about swimming in an ocean for me.
There is, yeah.
And you also, it's not like a pool is tap water and it's lovely. 9 out of 10 times, if you're in a hotel, unless you've got a private villa and it's all kind of lovely, if it's a public pool, you come out smelling of domestos, you know, and it doesn't
because it's activated the chlorine.
Oh, it's just ridiculous, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter how many times you shower, you still smell of it by the time you get back in the pool the next day. So
yeah, do you know, you've got me. We once went to Egypt and we went in the Red Sea and just went out in a boat, just jumped in and that was phenomenal. But that being said, I've never been more burnt getting salt water on your back and then baking in the sun as you're swimming. That is horrendous. And in the pool at the same resort, we had more code browns than I care to remember.
Yeah, you see, yeah, at least with an ocean, you know they're there anyway.
Yeah.
There's likelihood of something else eating them before they get to you.
Did you see? There was a TV debate on morning TV the other morning, and the debate was: is it disgusting to urinate in the ocean? Right. And The what? Sorry.
Right, go on.
And like normal sane people were saying, no. People that go open water swimming, first thing you do when you get in, to warm yourself up. And they got an expert on to say why it was a disgusting thing to do. Do you want to know who the expert was?
Go on.
Kerry Katona.
She's a piss expert now, is she?
An ocean piss expert.
I know she was a piss artist.
Yeah, she was on. And I don't know if you've had any experience with like local BBC radio stations and things, and sometimes they'll get you on and they'll say, listen, we've got this subject and we'd like it to take an opposing view. Would you do that? Now, because of one of the businesses that we're involved in, I always used to say, I can't do anything religious, political, anything like that. It just wouldn't be appropriate. So they'd all go, oh, right, well, so I stopped going on that particular station. But it's almost like somebody had gone, who we get on to talk about this? I know, I've got Kerry on speed dial. Let's get Katona on.
Who do it for a bag of chips?
You would literally do it for a doner kebab on the way home.
We need to do an off the record version of this where it's just called allegedly, because
there's another special allegedly.
Allegedly, I've got so many comments about Kerry Katona now. You know, is she worried about crying because another baby will swim up there and she'll be pregnant again? Is it allegedly? Is it
allegedly?
You know, is that why? Does it have a? Yeah, there's just so many. It's just so many. Why, mate? That's made my day. It's
a segues that make the show.
It's fantastic. Okay, your one. Go on. Last question.
So you've done your second one, and so right. When you're sleeping on an evening, would you prefer to be hot and cozy or cold?
So is it hot or is it cozy? Because there's a massive difference.
Warm, or as we say up here, warm.
I'd much rather be cozy and warm than cold. Yeah. I'm so British that even in the height of a Maldivian summer, I have to have something over the top of me. I can't do this laying naked with bits flapping in the breeze, I'm afraid.
Now, I'm the same. Is that body confidence, or is that you like to be warm?
It's for the physical sensation of having something covering me.
Yeah, for me, it's body confidence, because you go to those places, some of those blokes walking around, they're not normal people.
They're not happy though, Russ. They're not happy.
No, they don't eat Hershey's and Reese's.
They cry themselves to sleep over their protein shake.
Yeah, they wouldn't go to a country fair and buy 3 bags of fudge and eat it in the car on the way home.
No, just because you have to try every flavour.
Every flavour.
It's only fair.
Do I have the ginger, the whiskey, or do I get the tablet? Oh, I don't know what to do. I'll have all 3.
Yeah, and you combine the ginger and whiskey to make your very own Whiskey Mac fudge. See?
Right, I'll have to go because there's a fudge shop up the road. I've forgotten the question. What did I ask? Did you ask? Oh, yeah. So, yeah. Well, the only reason I asked is our eldest, Harry, it would be the middle of winter.
Yeah.
And he would have his bedroom window wide open. Like, just likes to be icy cold when he's sleeping.
See, if it were down to me, I would always have a breeze. So I would always have the window open, but I would then cover myself so I would be cozy and warm. But there is something, I get that. There is something about fresh air, but that was kind of beaten out of me with my...
beaten out of you.
It was kind of beaten out of me with years of relationship, which I wanted the window open. They wanted the window closed. So we compromised and had the window closed. Yeah, but I kind of get that. I do get that. Okay, so my last question.
Yes.
Leg, thigh, or breast? We're obviously talking about poultry
Oh,
and eating. So if you went to KFC and had a variety bucket, would you go for the leg, the thigh, or the breast?
now then, I do like a bit of breast chicken. Awkward. I do like. Oh, we need a carry-on version. I do like chicken breast. I do like chicken breast. However, when you get it from KFC, the chicken's a bit dry.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas a leg, you get more coating, you get more flavour. There's more brown meat on it. The thigh, you get a little bit of rib in there and a bit of, it's not quite. So I would have to go leg, I think.
So interesting. If I'm ordering from KFC, I'll always go for the drumstick. And there's two reasons for that. One, I just love
wheat. Yeah.
I love feeling like I'm at a medieval banquet.
Yeah, Henry VIII.
And you're right. You the coating seems to be more complete. There's less kind of bits to it, and so I love that. If I'm cooking, thigh all day long for me seems to have more flavour.
Yeah.
So yeah. So that's it. That's my 3 questions.
Well, if I'm cooking, I'd always cook breast. So
yeah, Frankie.
Easier to cut up, dice, and if you make the curry, you wouldn't cook it as a breast. You'd cut it open. It's easier to just cut with a pair of scissors and trim. And
yeah, agreed. Yeah.
Anyway, this is the cooking special.
I know we got so many. Okay, those were our 3 questions. Good.
There were all 3 questions.
Yeah. At some point, we'll agree that we know each other quite well, but that point is not yet. So
we're still deciding whether we like each other.
Yeah.
I just think that there'll be one question that one of us asks, and the other one just goes, I'm sorry, that's a deal breaker.
I'm done.
I just cannot. Anybody that likes double cream on their cornflakes, I just can't be friends with them or something like that.
Hang on, are you double bluffing me now? Is this what you do? Are you just feeling the water?
No, I don't even like milk. I'm not a big dairy fan, unless it's a dessert spoonful of butter. Then that's different. Or eating stilton like that, then that's different. But I'm not a big fan of milk and cream and custard and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. See, I'm a big dairy fan, but there's enough love to go around. That's not a deal breaker just yet. Okay, so at some point we should get on to business.
Yeah, well, I tell you what, you know what time it is?
Is it?
Business news.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good.
So, there's some very interesting business news this week, Gregory.
You use my full name. This must be serious. I tell you what, if you ever really want to scare me and get my attention, you use the full title. If you go Gregory Arthur Davis, I'll be down those stairs like a flash. I'll be like, what have I done?
Yeah. It's a bit like Norman Stanley Fletcher. It's a bit like porridge. Yeah. But anybody who's watching it somewhere else in the world, that was a 70s sitcom about a prison.
We're all about finger on the pulse here at this podcast.
Very current, very current. We move with the times. Talking about moving with the times, I was recommended to watch a program called Outer Banks the other day. I don't know whether it's something I want to watch or not. Anyway,
okay.
Talking about viewing, Amazon,
yes,
are making a series of Lord of the Rings. I don't know if you're aware of this.
I am aware because they've released the first still image. Yeah, so I saw that still image. It looks amazing, as you would expect.
Looks amazing. Oh, Lord of the Rings is famous for its backdrops from New Zealand. Yeah, yep. Beautiful countryside. Well, they've just announced that they're finishing all of the filming for the series in the UK.
Is that because of COVID?
It's because of COVID mainly, because a lot of the cast are from the UK or America, getting them out to New Zealand. And New Zealand have just announced they're not letting anybody in.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter. Till the end of the year, don't matter what you're doing, you're not coming in. So that's fair enough. That's their prerogative, and that's probably why they've had the least deaths per capita anywhere in the world. But it just means that we benefit from having what could be one of the greatest TV shows of all time filmed in the UK. I mean, the other one obviously being Robin of Sherwood.
Yeah.
The Hooded Man. Clannad doing the music.
I prefer Maid Marian and Her Merry Men, the children's TV show, which did a whole rap about Pancake Day.
It was very funny. It had Mark Addy in it, didn't it?
It was a very good show. It was
Merlin. Merlin was good as well. That was good.
Merlin was good, actually. Yeah. So I actually went to one of the sets of Lord of the Rings. I was lucky enough to go out to New Zealand when I was 21. So in the year 2000,
just a couple of years ago.
Year 2000, and my then partner's uncle was an area manager for Winston, which were their tagline was New Zealand's biggest rock group. They were a quarrying company, and in one of these quarries, they had built one of the sets into the side of. So it was like a bit of a castle, and you kind of saw. So I was really lucky to see that. However, I think once you've got the big sweeping shots done, which I kind of guess you don't really need the actors there to do, we filmed a load of Game of Thrones in the UK, and they're now filming the prequels to Game of Thrones. There's a load of that done down in Devon.
Most of it was done in Ireland, wasn't it? I think as well.
Northern Ireland, yeah.
Northern Ireland, yeah.
Big, the famous King's Road with the trees going over, that was Northern Ireland. And I've always said, going back to the fact that I like driving everywhere. I mean, when you go up, when you go down into Devon and Cornwall, when you go up through the Lake District into Scotland, which I know you've been to recently, there isn't a country in the world that can rival our scenery. We have some of the most beautiful scenery in the world, and I think sometimes we just forget. Other than the kind of glacial areas, I reckon we can match New Zealand pound for pound.
Well, Jill did say, who's my partner, my wife, she said while we were away, she said, there are so many places in the UK and Northern Ireland and Ireland that we haven't seen and the kids haven't seen. And we're not ones for going on a beach holiday and just sat around the pool. So I think that it's Jill's way of saying, don't get a new car, get a camper van, Russ. I think that's her way of doing that.
You're at that stage of life, are you? You're at
as you know, at one stage I owned a floristry business, and the van somebody once said to me, you need a camper van. And I went, what, a camper van? Or a camper van? So there was always that joke. Do you want some more news?
I do want some more news. I'm excited about the Lord of the Rings thing.
Oh, the series.
Yeah, very much so.
Do you know, isn't it strange? And this is probably one for, we could do a TV special, we could do a film special. There's loads of specials we could do, but if somebody had said to me 15 years ago, you will be paying for Disney streamed, Amazon, Netflix, Sky, and it's like, what, BT Sports, and you'll be paying for them all separately, and they'll all be making, and by the way, Netflix, which will be, if somebody said it's like Love Film only, you don't get any discs, it's all on the TV. And I would have gone, you're crazy. If somebody had said, oh, and by the way, they'll be making films of a quality that you would normally have gone to the cinema to watch.
Yeah.
I would have gone, you're a crazy fool.
Well, I've done some research for our sci-fi special, and I've had a look at the top grossing sci-fi series of movies and the top grossing TV series from sci-fi. And what's really interesting is that those lines are going to be blurred very soon, because you've now got the likes of, so I'm going to leave superheroes out of it, as we said, but you've got the likes of Star Wars now doing TV series.
Yeah.
As you said, at the quality that they were doing, movies. And Lord of the Rings, okay, not sci-fi, fantasy, maybe another
one.
Yeah, Lord of the Rings, Barry Potter. you've got all of that coming now. So those lines are going to be really, really blurred in the next kind of 5-10 years. And where you've now got the choice of, okay, do I go to the cinema? And there is that wonderful cinema experience, or
there is.
or do I watch it from home and then give everyone my password and let them watch it as well?
And invest the money that I would have gone to cinema in an Iceblast machine to have at home.
Yes.
That would be good, wouldn't it? How many flavors? All of them.
Tango Iceblast. Make it look like an explosion in a Play-Doh factory, please. That's what I want my cup to look like. Okay, right, give me some more business news.
And by the way, I want my Iceblast sloppy Iceblast, please.
Yeah, no one wants to turn blue, not from the brain freeze, but because you're lacking air because you can't get it up the straw.
Yeah, you can't get it up. So that's all different. Yeah, blue, can't get it up. What's the headline? Everybody had come up with something else, wouldn't they? So that's a kazoo. Business news. So Tesla, Elon Musk, I said I was bringing him in.
Yep.
Tesla in America have all of their cars have the option, and I think they're doing the UK. I'm not sure if you're allowed to do it in the UK with autopilot. You know.
Yeah, you can spec it, but some of the features aren't available.
Okay, so they have full autopilot in the US, which is a little bit like we were talking a couple of weeks ago about the Ron Burgundy autopilot in the SUV, that kind of thing. The US government are thinking of they have suspended the use of them in the US whilst they're investigating, because since 2018 there have been 11 crashes, and the biggest issue seems to be the vehicle identifying parked vehicles, specifically emergency vehicles that are parked. So I think it's Elon Musk allegedly going and crashing the police cars. That's all right.
just take them out.
I mean, I'm joking about it. However, there have been 17 injuries and 1 death because of it. So, I mean, I love technology. I love the future. I love the self-drive stuff. But surely, if you're in a vehicle and it's self-driving you're going to be alert and you're going to be looking around and you can take over. You're not just going to go, I'll have a kip then and fall asleep.
Well, as I understand it, you still have to maintain contact with the wheel. I mean, you know this because we just had. I'm hoping to order a Tesla. All the paperwork's going through, but I haven't spec'd the full self-drive capability because the UK legislation is a few years behind. I wonder, like, I know Elon Musk comes back with some brilliant retorts. So I bet he's already got people working on, well, how many crashes has there been of normal people driving, and all that kind of stuff. Because at some point, we're going to have to recognize that driving a 2-ton vehicle at 70 miles an hour does have some risk. And it doesn't matter who's driving it, whether it be us or the computer, there's always going to be a risk element in there. There is every time you sit behind the wheel. Imagine if someone came to you with a pitch today of putting a highly flammable liquid into a sealed container and having outlets to sell it on every street corner as a new fuel source. The internal combustion engine would never get to production. What, you're going to cause an explosion in a metal box like 100 times a second
to propel something forward.
Yeah,
70, 80, 90 miles an hour.
It would just never get there. So at some point we're going to have to use sense and admit that is it proportionally safer to be on and I'm not saying that we should ignore these things and we shouldn't improve, but the first seat belts were lap straps only. You didn't have the 3-point harness, and it was the inventor Volvo, and they didn't patent it because they wanted everyone to be safe. So at the point where they'd saved a load of lives, but there were a number of people that had abdominal injuries and they were paralyzed, did they go, well, we just won't have seatbelts then? You know, so they didn't. They progressed it. So I think this technology is only going to get better the more it's used. And I think right now it's proportionally safer than if people were driving tired.
Yeah,
that's the comparison that I'd like to see. You know, if these people were driving tired rather than putting an autopilot on, what's the comparison there? So I can't wait for the day where we have full self-drive. And I really mean that as well. It'll be weird the first few times it happens, but like for you and I that go to early morning meetings, we could use that time so much more productively. And I'm talking full self-drive. I'm talking about the kind of Will Smith iRobot where you take your hands off the wheel and the wheel disappears so you don't interfere with the driving. I can't wait for that.
Like Minority Report, and I'm sorry if I'm getting into sci-fi land. I know it's coming next week.
Oh man, yeah, you know where the cars go up the walls and stuff, and yeah, I can't wait for that. And he's a divisive character, but I'm a big fan of all that the Musk has done to push technology forward.
Yeah, I'm a fan. I'm a big fan. I've read a lot about him and listened to loads of podcasts, and I mean, I think it's a sensational headline that is designed. We have this horrible thing where we drag down successful people, and
we do.
It's just it's a horrible trait, and our media does it all the time. They do it with footballers. Saka, the Arsenal player in the Euros, missed a penalty. He's 19 years old and he's playing in an England shirt, taking a penalty because he's gone, I'll take a penalty. And, you know, what was beautiful was he played, the first game of the season was against Brentford, newly qualified Brentford, and he came on the pitch and the Brentford fans all stood up and gave him a standing ovation. And I thought, that's what life should be.
And then they beat Arsenal 2-0.
Yes, they did, which was beautiful. And there's this beautiful image at the end where the Brentford manager's running along the side of the pitch, and this child's clapping and shouting him over, and he goes over, and the look of joy between the two of them is just amazing. But hey, I don't know, we got on that. I've got one final news.
I just want to just one thing to bear in mind. So they were talking about with self-drive cars and trucks having to have some kind of warning that they were on self-drive, and it instantly made me think of when cars very first came out, and you had to employ someone to walk in front with a red flag warning that there's a car. It just smacks of that, and how ridiculous that seems to us now. That's what it's going to seem in 20, 30, 40, 50 years time.
I agree.
Go on, mate.
Final news story. You ready? I'm going to try and be cool. Business news. It almost worked.
Very cool.
So this is a great idea, and I hope loads of more businesses get behind it. But there's two companies that are leading something at the moment. And in the UK at the moment, the government have just opened up jabs for 16 to 18-year-olds. Yep. And the idea is they want them all done the next couple of weeks before they go back to school, college. It's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. But there are still some kids that are like, oh, I'm indestructible, I'm 16 years old, I'm not going to get a jab. So Asda and National Express, the first two companies to offer quite good rewards to kids of that age to have their jabs.
Oh, wow.
I think it's a really, don't get me wrong. Some of it is a PR thing, isn't it? It's like,
of course it is, yeah.
But it's really good for a company like National Express that are a low margin operator that have seen lots of people not traveling. They've been absolutely battered as a company.
Yeah.
And a lot of the people that travel with them are younger people, because you can get the bus like from the northeast to London for like £25.
Yeah.
Or you can get the train for £75, £80, £100, whatever. It takes longer, but it's those young people haven't been traveling, and some of it is they're worried because they're not jabbed. So encouraging them, get double jabbed, and you can come on for this amount. And I just think it's really clever, really clever.
It's a lovely example of carrot versus stick. And so my partner Frankie, who you know, before the pandemic was a very successful travel agent. She still runs a travel agency business, and it's been so hard for those guys. And she was doing a quote over the weekend for one of her clients, and it was Disneyland Paris and all that kind of stuff. And it was a young guy she was doing the quote for, and they got all the quotes. And when he started looking into the travel restrictions, he can't go. And like his family, some of his family live in another country, and they were all meeting up at Disneyland Paris. And France aren't letting people in who aren't double vaccinated. And there's just not enough time for him to have he's a young guy, for him to have the first dose and then the second dose, because
8 weeks
meant to be 8 weeks. Now I know they pulled my jab forward by 3 weeks, but even that's a 5-week window and wouldn't have been enough for him. So I think anything that we can do, because ultimately there will be a moment where, and it's well within people's rights, so, either countries or establishments, these younger adults will go to walk in and they'll go, we're not letting you in. And they'll start missing out on stuff. So anything we can do to incentivize people, I think you're right. It is a PR stunt. However, it's a pretty damn good one. And for me, it comes from the right place, definitely.
So
Okay, so what would be the best? What would be the best incentive or the cleverest incentive to get double vaccinated?
Based upon
teenagers.
It's aimed at that age group. 5 guys offering a 75% discount.
That'd be good. My one would be Durex condoms with a strap line, better than your normal little pricks. So something along those lines. I mean, so why not? It would be a clever advertising, and it wouldn't be I wouldn't put it past someone like Durex to do something like that. They've had some very clever stuff in the past. But yeah, I mean, that kind of thing, like
I've got one then.
Go on.
Net pricks
would be brilliant, wouldn't it?
That'd be brilliant. I mean, I'm just copywriting that right now to the Monkey Batman podcast. If Netflix are out there and they want to do something to incentivize 16 to 18-year-olds to have their double vaccination, then Net pricks is exactly what you need to call itself.
So what about if a fast food chain, so either McDonald's or Burger King, they gave away free dairy drinks for each double vaccinated, and it was called Shake and Vax?
I think there's a copyright infringement there.
That'd be great, wouldn't it? Shake and Vax. I don't even think Shake and Vax still exists, but
you take the Shake and Vax and knock the infection back.
Take the Shake and Vax and knock the infection back. Yay! Yeah.
When your body feels great, then your mind does too. Take the Shake and Vax.
Because it's good for you.
You.
Yeah, brilliant. Love it.
You.
Great. Yeah. Copyright that one as well.
Yeah. So, I mean, we're pretty much at the hour, but I've got 3 things that I spotted up in North Scotland that I'd like to share if we've got time.
I think we've got time. We've got about 7 minutes until we hit the hour mark, so let's do it.
All right. Well, okay. So, now that we're doing this show and we're looking for content, I was out and about. We were north of Aberdeen, a good half an hour's drive, 45-minute drive north of Aberdeen.
Is that Iceland?
Well, from a geography point of view, to put it into context, I have a different accent, brought up a different way, northeast of England. Yeah, I can be with you where you live now in about 4.5 hours.
Yep. Yes, you can.
Quite comfortably. It was an 8.5-hour drive to where we were. And
you didn't have to get on a boat.
I didn't have to get on a boat or nothing. It was just a drive with 3 stops because we had a dog in the car with us. So we had to stop.
But proper roads. We're not talking about tiny little roads. It was an 8.5.
A roads.
Right.
A roads. And where we were, if we wanted to go to Inverness, it's another 2.5 hours.
So you could have done an 11-hour drive.
That would have been mental, wouldn't it? When we were younger, Jill and I set off and drove through the night and drove to Wick, which is near John O'Groats, and we were camping with some friends, and we got there at about 5 in the morning. It was a 12-hour journey. We got there about 5 in the morning, put the tent up, and laid in the tent, watching the sun come up over the cliffs. I mean, that was nice. Anyway,
romantic.
While we were there was an independent sports shop called Dick's Sports. Thought that was quite novel.
Well, it is. It is. Apart from there is a massive American chain called Dick's Sports.
Well, that kind of ruins it for me, because I was thinking, well, what Dick's Sports could you have?
Well, Hoopla.
Hoopla. There's the favourite one I like is the Ghostbusters Don't Cross the Streams game.
Yeah. Pocket billiards.
Pocket billiards. Sword fights as kids.
You could definitely do a bit of fencing, couldn't you?
Yeah. Offensing.
You could probably even do a version of like shot put, if you just kind of pulled it back and let it go at a certain time.
Depending upon the elasticity.
Yes, and arousal.
Another one was, oh, go on, sorry.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm not impressed with Dick Sports. I mean, how he's probably only gotten away with that because the lawyers can't be bothered to drive that far. So.
Yeah, I didn't have the internet. So the next one is where we were staying. One of the major employers along that coast are fish factories that are processing fish for the supermarket chains, things like that. So it's really good, really fresh. It's in, it's frozen, bang. And one of them had a big sign, like one of these like tarpaulin signs, banner on the outside fence, and it had a job vacancy. And it reminded me, it needs to be almost said in Liam Neeson's voice, where it goes, "I have a particular set of skills."
Because you sent me this, you sent me the picture, and I've been reading it, going, if I did it in Russ's accent, is it funnier? I don't get it. So you really need to explain this to me. Go on.
It's like, where else would you see an advert for scallop cutters?
Yeah. Okay. So,
if you're walking around your local area and you walk past a factory, it's like machine operatives or account assistants. Yeah, scallop cutters. And I turned to me son and said, "Hey, get yourself in there, son." He went, "Why?" He went, "Scallop cutters." And he just went, "What?" So he didn't know what a scallop is, so he just didn't know why you would cut a scallop. But I just thought that was like quite a unique.
Well, you and I have the same day job where we get businesses together and we ask them to represent one position. And as it like whenever I'm doing a bit of training, I always use a kind of farcical profession. And I always say underwater Mexican basket weaver.
Oh yeah.
Is like, but I'm going to change it to scallop cutter.
Scallop cutter. But hey, we're not belittling the trade of scallop cutting. And just imagine turning up to the interview with them saying, "So what makes you think you're qualified to be a scallop cutter?" "Hey, I've been a scallop cutter for 30 years, man and boy.
It's in my family.
My father was a scallop cutter.
His father before. It's in our blood. We are known as the shellfish bastards."
The shellfish bastards. That's a Sean Bean line, isn't it? Shellfish
bastard. He's a scallop cutter.
Yeah. And the final thing that I would just like to share with you from a Scottish journey is a little bit. It's a business name, makes you money. So can I just have the business name theme tune, please?
Business names, they'll make you money, especially if they're really funny. Business names.
Business names. So this was a mobile catering van.
Yep.
Which is always a popular one for business names.
Yep.
And it was the Soup and Sanny Vanny.
Sanny as in sandwich.
Yeah, not sanitary towels.
Right, okay.
Yeah. It was a Soup and Sanny Vanny.
See, so that sounds really good when you do it in your broad Newcastle accent.
Whoa, whoa.
Is that
Smoggy, man. I'm a smoggy.
okay? So when you do it in your proper smoggy accent, do it in a smoggy accent.
The soup and sunny bunny.
See, down here we would say the soup and sarnie, Varney.
Barney.
It just wouldn't make sense. But how does that go in a Scottish accent? Does it work in Scottish?
I'm just about to offend 6 million people.
Okay.
I'll do my best Scottish. Oh, the soup and sunny bunny.
Yeah, that works.
The soup and sunny bunny.
I like it. And the picture you sent me, it has a character mascot. It's a sandwich. It's a sandwich holding its thumb up.
Well, that's basically positive reinforcement of the brand.
Oh, it's not. It's not a thumb. He's got a big foam finger.
I thought you were going to say, it's not a thumb. He's showing his middle finger to the world.
He's got one of those, another one. Birds of Dust, the gladiator type foam finger.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I like it. I like the soup and Sanny Vanny. Yeah.
So that's somebody said to me, what did you bring back from Scotland? Dick's Sports, scallop cutters, and the soup and Sanny Vanny.
You also sent me, and I'm going to post this on Facebook as well. Russ has sent me a picture of a badger, and the caption is "Free to a good home, border collie, not house trained, shite with children, and quite frankly, a vicious little bastard." It's really funny.
No, nobody will take it off my hands.
It's really good. Yeah, I know this isn't true, but due to a comedy website from the early 2000s called Weeble and Bob, which was so funny. They used to make comedy songs up, and one of my favorite ones was the Badger song. And all it said was badger, 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 and every now and then it said mushroom or snake. And I'll see if I can find a link to it because it is really funny. But that's what I imagine badgers do all day, well, all night really, because they sleep all day, but all night because they kind of shuffle along. And in my mind, they're going badger, 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 badger.
They would be a great dance troupe for our music.
What? Just a load of badgers going badger, 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 badger.
Be good.
And on that note, badger.